Well, I got the bracket on there, and turns out when I welded it originally, it was too far to the left here, and I had to grind it all apart and move it over about 1/4 of an inch. But you can see here now that the trigger will line up with that, and I will have plenty of room to drill a bolt hole there, and that will pretty much be it. So tomorrow when it's daylight, I'm going to pull those head bolts out and see if I can drill this thing in there, and then I'm going to take the panel off my other 430 that I made, drill 2 holes on this thing here, hang the piece of sheet metal down and mount the ignition module and all that fun stuff. So anyways, this is great. This is going to work, and I'm very happy with my little bracket here. It's pretty simple to make, and you know, I'm hoping that I can make a little template or some exact dimensions or something so that some of you guys can save some of these tractors, because I really love these old tractors and I want them to be saved. And it's that simple. Alright. Well, I got the bracket mounted on here, and I've got the crank trigger mounted. And what I did is I put the pin in the right spot right there. And then I just referenced where I need to drill a hole in that plate for the sensor. Now, the way I line this up is I put the OEM ignition module on the tractor, and I put the pin, I rotated the flywheel until the pin was in the right spot. Now, if you look at the service manual for the Onan NB engine, it tells you that the timing is 20 degrees before top dead center. So that's what controls the timing, and the piston itself is just a hair under top dead center. And now what I'm going to do is build the ignition module piece of metal that hangs on there with the coil and everything like that. But this was the hard part right here, is making that bracket. So that's what I'm hoping you guys can do, and we'll go from there. Alright guys, one thing that I found interesting in the timing procedure is that here on the timing cover they actually have some degrees. So I put the motor at top dead center, and they actually have a marking on there that says TC for top center. And you can see you can back it up to 20 degrees. So I took a Sharpie and just made a mark on there where top dead center is. And I'm going to back this up to 20 degrees, which is right there. And my pin is dead on to my crank trigger there. So that's yet another way that you can do the timing. And that's probably the most scientific way that you can do the timing after all. And my piston is just a hair beneath where it was being at the top dead center. So what I'm going to do before I put this together, I just hit all these threads here with my with a tap. I'm going to clean all this carbon off the piston here and the valves before I put the head on, and I'm going to clean all the carbon out of the head, and then I'm going to go about reassembling this thing. But for now, that's how you time it scientifically. So I got my metal cut out, and now I'm going to mount my module here. I'm going to use 2 little 1024 screws. So I'll just drill out these holes right where the module is, and we'll go from there. Now I got a coil here from a Kohler engine, just a regular old ignition coil that has an internal resistor, and I'm just going to mount this so it's kind of centered in my 6-inch plate here. I'm going to move it in a little bit because it'll hit one of the control rods if it's not too far in. So I just kind of drew up 2 little dots here, and then I'll take this off and we'll drill out these 2 holes. Now the other side will have the ignition module on it. These bolts are actually number 8s, they're not number 10s. Whatever fits through your module, they're probably all the same thing with the number 8. But we'll drill out those holes and we'll mount that coil. Well guys, I got the bracket made, and I took a little piece of angle iron and cut 2 little pieces here for the top and bolted them on. And this side will have the module on it. And this module here is going to be what feeds the crank trigger out of this side and the coil out of this side. So what we're going to do on this side is just make two little wires that just go right around to the other side and hook up to the two posts on the coil. The positive post will just get fed with the hot wire from the key switch, and that's pretty much it, you know. So I'll show you how this will mount in the machine. It's starting to get dark out, but we're going to just drill two holes in this piece here, and the whole plate will just hang down right off of there, and we'll just run a wire from our crank trigger right up there to the module. And that'll be tomorrow, since I'm out of daylight here. Then we'll make a spark plug wire that will go from there right over to the top of the engine, and we'll be in pretty good shape.